Finland has always had one of the strongest melodic death metal scenes in the world, with such now legendary bands as Children of Bodom, or such bands as Amorphous and Sepharum, or Insomnium, the latter of whom of course are set to release their 9th studio record this week. And since I was already able to enjoy Anno 1696, let's take a look at what is inside the 9th studio record of one of the hottest melodic death metal bands of today. Here you go. Upon releasing their debut record, Insomnium have right away caught the attention of pretty much all melodic death metal fans around the globe. And since then, they actually have remained one of the only bands in the genre who have continued progressing from an album to an album, with their still latest, as of today, 2019 release Heart Like a Grave being considered the best the band has put out, at least so far. And thus, I guess it is no surprise that on Anno 1696, Insomnium kinda continued using the formula they've created for themselves, combining melodic death with folk metal, yet also diving deeper and deeper into their own country's culture and mythology. The men themselves actually pointed out that this album, Anno 1696, is a manifesto of grief and hope from the ever-fertile and melancholic Finnish soil. And just running a little bit ahead of myself, I have to point out that this might actually be the best possible description for this record. By the way, I just wanted to quickly remind you guys to not hesitate to comment on anything you hear or see in this video, and especially if you disagree with me, because the whole point of our channels is of course to start a conversation. And while we're on it, please don't forget to subscribe to this and our main channel, Metal Pilgrim. But alright, let's continue. Anno 1696 opens with this enchanting and acoustic intro, which slowly yet very steadily, step by step, grows into this burst of energy by the Finnish boys. Overall, I gotta say that this slow-paced intro actually shows how sure Insomnium are of what they're doing on this album. As you know, with the Spotify and all the other streaming platform algorithms these days, I'm pretty sure that every label pushes their bands to make sure that the first song on their record is extremely straightforward and right there in your face, just to be able to grab the attention of that casual listener. Yet on Anno 1696, the band is doing exactly the opposite, slowly building that composition they want to develop, and in such way, as weird as it may sound, kind of building a relationship between a listener and this record. Because the truth is that after you're past that intro, you get absolutely hooked on this record. In the name of God, Savior and Lord. On the next two songs, Insomnium invite guest vocalists, one of which, White Christ, has been released as one of the singles to this record. Overall, I gotta say that this song, and I know it's very weird, but actually reminds me more of Amorphous than of Insomnium, and in my opinion was most likely released as a single to be able to grab attention of new audiences. But it is on Godforsaken that the band is able to showcase the entire spectrum of their compositional skills, for which they are actually considered one of the best in their genre of today. On the third track of the record, the band sent its listener on an emotional roller coaster with several modulations, tempo changes, and the overall shifts of the mood of this track. And in addition, the enchanting yet chilling vocals by Johanna Kurkela is actually one of the highlights of this record as a whole. Nice! And I believe it is after this third track we're actually able to make the first conclusions about this record as a whole, comparing it to, let's say, its predecessor. And so here we can actually point out that even though the overall formula and the overall feel of the album is very consistent to what the band has been doing before that, Anno 1696 is actually much more straightforward than its predecessor, as despite the fact that Godforsaken, for example, is the longest track on the record, which runs for more than 8 minutes, it still does not feel overstretched at all, and is able to grab its listener's attention from the very first until the very last note. And bear in mind, this is the longest track on the record, but when we're talking about such songs as Lilian, those are just a burst of pure metal energy. On the next two compositions, Starless Paths and The Witch Hunter, the band showcases its much more melancholic side once again, at parts significantly decreasing the BPM and putting the growling vocals on the front, and in such way almost kind of tapping into the world of this gothic doom metal of the late 1990s. And yeah, just in case, that is definitely a good thing. But at the same time, as weird as it may sound, but the most all-embracive track on this record might actually be the Unrest, which follows. As it is this, the most unexpected track, this acoustic piece was able to include the whole spectrum of emotions which Anno 1696 listener is able to feel throughout the record, making you want to close your eyes and go on that long journey through your deepest thoughts and memories, just to be able to wake you up with a burst of energy of the outro, the Rapid, which on one hand does a great job being this last chapter of a story, yet at the same time makes you long for more music from this Finnish band. So what about Anno 1696? Is it worth your attention? Definitely. Is it a good entry point to the world of Insomnium if you haven't heard of them before? Yes, even more, it actually might be the best studio record the band has done up until today. In addition, I actually think that Anno 1696 is one of those records that you kinda have to listen to not once, not twice, and maybe not even 10 times to be able to fully understand this record. As I'll be honest with you, the more I listened to this album since the day that the label has sent it to me, the more it continued opening up to me from different sides which I haven't noticed before, painting this beautiful, melancholic picture. And what about you? What do you guys personally think about Insomnium as a whole and about the singles which were released prior to this record? Or if you're watching it after it's been released, what do you think about Anno 1696? Please let us know in the comments.
Write that down, write that down!
As always, thank you so much for watching, guys, and please don't forget that the war in Ukraine is still going on. There are people dying here, so please continue supporting us in any way you possibly can. We will prevail. Slava Ukraini!